Basetsana Kumalo's book, Bassie, My Journey of Hope, has just been released. She joins me in studio now. Thanks so much for your time on SABC News.
Thank you, Griselda. Thank you for having me.
I just want to say your journey in the public eye began with winning Miss South Africa. And we might not look at it as a very significant thing now, but at that time, particularly in 1994, you speak about the significance and the challenges that your predecessor has. Talk us through that.
Nzinga, 1994 was a very poignant year in our history. I won the crown at a critical time where a new government had come into power, new dispensation, new democracy. And to be able to then win at that particular time, juxtaposed with where we were going as a people, as a nation, I understood that that was a moment in time that at some point would have to be chronicled, and I could only do that until I have lived that full journey of the last 25 years of our country. And of course, having been inspired by Madiba himself as the first black president, and the journey has been one that has been a journey of hope, I'd like to believe, inspiring a new generation of young leaders to emerge in 2019 and going forward into our next 25 years of democracy.
When you won Miss South Africa, your answer was about not wanting to be one thing or the other and doing more than one thing. You speak a lot about your entrepreneurial journey, which has taken you to many spaces, being part of the Businesswomen's Association in 2007. That organization, of course, has seen people like Dr. Thandi Ndlovu, Nolita Fakude. You also speak about the importance of failing forward, particularly in business.
Let's just focus perhaps on entrepreneurship first, because that's the genesis of my life. I started to work with money at an early age, at the age of 6, and being brought up by parents who were entrepreneurial, over and above the fact that they were civil servants, a bus driver and a teacher, then propelled in me, literally gave me a blueprint of what it's like to be able to work hard, to be able to dream big, and to be able to just literally roll up your sleeves and get on with it. So coming from that generation and a family of entrepreneurs inspired me as a tender young person. And I remember at the age of 20, when I won Miss South Africa, I was very clear that I would want to be self-employed throughout my life. And so it was understanding also the era of where we were at, but more importantly, what being an entrepreneur is all about. And then we fast forward that through the trajectory of my life over the last 25 years, you mentioned the Businesswomen's Association. I was president of this incredible network of businesswomen across the nation between 2007 and 2009, and had the most incredible opportunity to be mentored by the likes of Thandi Ndlovu, and may her soul rest in peace, Dr. Mnanamane Makau. So I've come from a generation of just being inspired by phenomenal women. Two of them have written my foreword, Professor Thuli Madonsela and Dr. Phumzile Mlambo Ngcuka, who heads up the United Nations Women. So to be able to have been raised in that era, and then understanding mentorship, because I am a product of mentoring, by being mentored by some of these formidable women, and then today I believe in paying it forward and mentoring young people who some of them are in my book, that I've journeyed with them. So it's understanding the hour that you are placed in, your life purpose, and being able to show up for it. And when you show up for it, little did I know, for example, that my book, My Journey of Hope, is going to ignite another new sense of hope, or a renewed sense of hope to young people, men, women across the race, line. So it's a new day for me.
In this book, you've spoken about the young people that you've mentored. We saw that Bonang in the back of the book has written about you, Samizi, Pearl, and other celebrities. But being in the public eye comes with some challenges. And you've written quite candidly about your stalker, defamation, and abuse in the book. How difficult was that to know that you're opening yourself up and talking about some of the humiliations that you've suffered?
It was so important for me to write an honest book, a raw account of my true life, and not sugarcoat what I'd been through, and literally sanitize some of the truths. And I went into deep, dark places. I'm quite vulnerable in the book, in the way I wrote it. And I was only going to write a book that was honest. I speak about gender-based violence that I suffered at the hands of my first boyfriend. Thank God I married my second boyfriend. And I speak about being taken advantage of by people who don't necessarily appreciate your own destiny. I mean, I've had a couple of lawsuits. I've sued a stalker. I've sued a company that took advantage of my brand. Back in 2005, and currently I'm in the courts suing a cyber bully because it is unacceptable that people work hard to build their names. You trade on the integrity of your name, and so everybody, whether you're a public figure, you have the right to be protected by the Constitution. And if you're going to violate my constitutional rights, and even more so insult my children's intelligence, then I will throw the book of the law at you. So there's a trial that's going to start in November. And it's, you know, I don't take on every battle. There's just so much to do. I have a number of businesses to run. But when it comes to also just negating people's hard work by just clicking a keyboard on Twitter Mountain, and then in 3 seconds you think you're going to delete that, and the damage of that. So we all have a responsibility to protect our good names. As I said, that's all that we trade on. And to see these young people that have come up, the Bonangs, the Pearls, the Mini Dlaminis, I've got 2 of my mentees that have decided to literally be out of work for 2 weeks to travel with me as I go on my book road tour. One of them is Dr. Tsidi Gule. She travels with me, and Upeni Mkiza, she's here with me as well. So it's truly for me about paying it forward because I'm the product of standing on the shoulders of great men and women, of course.
Mm-hmm. You've came into our consciousness obviously winning a beauty pageant, and you speak about how you've started to look at beauty differently because of your daughter, and because obviously the times are changing, going from being on a billboard advertising relaxer to now walking around with your afro.
I had Bontleba Morena at the age of 40, and it was a definitive turning point in my life. Firstly, when I won Miss South Africa in 1994, a girl with a fro would have never stood a chance on the stage. Actually think of Zozibini now with her beautiful crown that she is owning. And I wanted to be able to raise a daughter, a woman, who knew that she was good enough, that her roots and her crown are who she is. It's the essence of her identity. And that's when I decided to cut my hair off and grow an afro, because I wanted her to be validated by herself, firstly, knowing that she's a gift, but as her mother, I had to validate her worth, her sense of worth, and her pride in being African and being a black girl child. You know, when it was in, I think, 2013, that young woman at the Pretoria school, the girls' high, Ujuleka, had to be told to fix her hair with her fro. She was told to straighten her hair. And I, as a role model in this country, this hour, I could not sit back and think that is okay, because those young people, they look up to me. They look up to Kanye. They look up to Ipeleng. They look up to these formidable women that are building empires. And so I thought, well, let's take it back. And I want my daughter to live an authentic life, a life that is exemplary, but also just to be true to her. And henceforth, I've gone back to own my roots, and I love my fro, by the way.
Okay. You speak in the book and in the interview as well of the importance of relationships and the access to spaces that you've had and very important people. But it seems as though you're still taken aback by the effect that you have on people on a day-to-day basis. 25 years later, you're not used to people freaking out because you're Basetsana Kumalo.
Oh my goodness, I'm still actually quite overwhelmed by what even happened at the book launch on Thursday, that 1,000 people turned up across all the political parties. My friend Julius was there, the leadership of my movement, the ANC was there, the DA was there. I mean, it was just wonderful. And I know that it has nothing to do with me, but it's about the greater purpose that I'm called for at such a time as this. And I think the grace and the favor that I enjoy from South Africans across the board, it still does take me aback. And I think it also speaks to the fact that I am an introvert. So stepping out of that comfort zone, oftentimes, I find myself quite overwhelmed. And I'll tell you this for free. I'm a broadcaster for 25 years. Do you know that before I even came to studio to speak with you, I still get the nerves. My palms still sweat. The butterflies are still there. But I think over the years I've managed to to make the butterflies fly in unison, but they have never left me. And when I say to myself, if I ever then wake up one day and then I've lost that nervousness of being able to bring my best to my audience, then I should quit, because then I'll start disrespecting my audience. So so I'm humbled by how much South Africa still is embracing me 25 years later.
What's next for you, and are we going to see more books from you, perhaps children's books or?
So they say that once a writer's bug bites at you, you actually don't stop. What's next for me? What I know for sure is what my life purpose is, and I'm a teacher. I'm not in a conventional classroom, but the way I live my life, the stories that I've been through, the opportunities that I get to speak to leaders across the world, corporate South Africa, young people in universities, women in organizations. I will continue to teach, and so I think that's next in my life, but watch the space. I'm not going to go further than that.
Thanks so much for your time tonight, Basetsana Kumalo, discussing her book with us this evening. Stephen, it's over to you.